Every week, millions of people buy lottery tickets. They understand the odds. They know the chances are extremely small. And yet, they still take part. Not because they genuinely expect to win, but because, for a brief moment, that ticket allows them to imagine a different life. This is the lottery mindset. At first glance, the lottery seems simple. You spend a few pounds and in return, you're given a chance. But that isn't what people are truly paying for. They're paying for hope. Hope that financial pressure might finally disappear. Hope that bills won't feel so heavy. Hope that life won't always be limited by money. For people living with constant stress, long hours, and very little security, that hope is powerful. Sometimes it's the only thing that feels available. Research consistently shows the same pattern. People on lower incomes spend a higher percentage of their money on lottery tickets than the wealthy. This isn't because they don't understand maths. It's because they have fewer realistic paths to escape. If you're financially comfortable, you have options, savings, investments, opportunities. But if you're just getting by, the lottery becomes one of the few stories where escape feels possible. Not probable, but possible. The moment someone buys a ticket, something shifts. For the next few hours, or even days, they're no longer just a worker or someone worrying about rent. In their mind, they're planning. They imagine quitting their job, helping their family, moving somewhere new, living without constant pressure. That feeling, that imagined future, is the real product being sold. The ticket itself is small, but the dream is enormous. Lottery advertising understands this psychology perfectly. You rarely see statistics. You never see the millions who lose. Instead, you see smiling winners, celebrations, oversized checks, lives transformed overnight. The message is subtle, but clear. This could be you. And because hope feels good, people return, again and again and again. Now let's look at the numbers. The odds of winning a major lottery are often around 1 in 100 million. You're more likely to be struck by lightning, more likely to become a film star, more likely to experience events we consider almost impossible. Most people are aware of this, but awareness doesn't stop the behavior, because decisions like this aren't driven by logic, they're driven by emotion, and hope is stronger than probability. From a logical perspective, the lottery is a terrible financial decision, but emotionally, it offers something rare. For the price of a coffee, you're given permission to imagine a life without limits. And when real life feels exhausting, that permission can feel worth everything. The lottery doesn't sell money. It sells relief. It sells imagination. It sells the idea of escape. And as long as people feel trapped, there will always be demand for a dream that quietly says, maybe this time. But here's the part that rarely gets discussed. That small ticket, that harmless dream, repeated over years, it adds up, not just in money, but in time, attention, and belief. Every pound spent on false hope is a pound not spent on something real. Skills, education, savings, a business idea, even rest. The lottery doesn't just take money, it quietly takes momentum. And for people already struggling, momentum is the most valuable resource they have. Hope is supposed to move us forward. But when hope is outsourced to chance, it stops being fuel and starts being a cage. Because if escape depends on luck, then effort begins to feel pointless. Why struggle? Why plan? Why take risks when deep down you're waiting for a miracle? This is how the lottery mindset becomes dangerous. Not because people believe they'll win, but because it teaches them to wait. There's something else worth noticing. Lotteries are often promoted as public good, funding schools, hospitals, community projects, and on paper that sounds noble. But in reality, the system depends on repeated loss, a small number of winners, and millions of contributors who never see a return. The dream flows upward, the cost flows downward, and the people paying the highest price are usually the ones who can least afford it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Real escape doesn't look like a jackpot. It's slow, unimpressive, often invisible. It looks like learning a skill at night, saving small amounts consistently, failing multiple times, staying patient when nothing changes. There are no fireworks, no oversized checks, no applause. Just progress, quiet, uncertain, and earned. And that's why it's harder to sell. Imagine if the same imagination used on lottery dreams was applied elsewhere. What if instead of picturing a sudden win, people pictured gradual freedom? Not overnight wealth, but stability. Not quitting everything, but building something. The problem isn't dreaming. The problem is where the dream is placed. Because when dreams are handed to systems designed for profit, they rarely come back intact. So the lottery mindset isn't about numbers. It's about belief. Belief in shortcuts, belief in rescue, belief that change must arrive, not be created. And the real question isn't, why do people buy lottery tickets? The real question is, what kind of world makes millions of people feel that chance is their best option? Until that changes, there will always be tickets sold. Always be dreams printed on paper. Always be hope wrapped in odds. Quietly whispering the same promise. Maybe this time.